Hi, nice to meet you all, and thanks for joining the workshop from Prosys OPC. And yeah, here in ProveIt Conference 2026. Okay, so in this workshop, first we are going to go through. Is it not really wanting over it? Yeah, we are going to go through quickly some intro of Prosys OPC and overall the agenda of this workshop. The second part, I will go through quickly about the application that I'm showcasing, which is Forge. So just a kind of overall view what the software is, where it's supposed to be used. And then I was planning to have a hands-on exercise during this workshop, but it seems that you don't have laptops here or with you, so okay, good. But yeah, so we can go through the exercise, and I'm able to showcase the Forge itself, the configurations, and yeah, you get some idea of how it works. And also, I'm recording the workshop currently, so if everything goes as planned, we might publish that on YouTube, and also I welcome, and also the environment that I'm going to use here to demonstrate it. You are able to download it after the ProveIt, and you can test the application yourself and follow the tutorial that I have made. So yeah. So first, the intro. I'm Iivo Yrjölä, a lead engineer at Prosys OPC. I have master's degree from Aalto University, and the current position in Prosys OPC is customer support and integration, mainly focusing on the Forge application, but also including our other softwares. And just something that you can remember me, on my free time I do climbing, so maybe you can now remember the climbing guy from Prosys, or I don't know. And I have my colleague, our CTO, Jouni, joined here. So
thank you. Yeah, I can say something about myself. So I've been working at Prosys for 30 years this April. Company is actually 31 years old this summer. So I didn't join right from the start, but almost. I've been the CDO basically from the beginning, giving me a target for the company to concentrate on OPC at certain points when we started working with the customer projects, and became very useful for us. And we worked on OPC UA technology for 20 years together with OPC Foundation, and we provide toolkits and now the end user application course that Iivo is showcasing here.
Good. So Jouni is helping me with the questions in the end of the workshop when I know that you're gonna get hard questions for me. Okay, and then what's Prosys OPC? As Jouni mentioned, it's already 31 years old, so founded in 1995, located in southern Finland, and many have been curious, like, what's the weather in Finland? So currently, it's unfortunately it's in Celsius, but yeah, minus 10 average for the day. And this is the day before we left to Dallas from my cross-country ski. So it's the middle of winter there. Quite nice.
This year we got a really good winter origins.
Yeah. And as Jouni mentioned, Prosys OPC has a long experience from OPC UA solutions and information modeling, and together with the IT/OT integration coming from consulting and project work. And we also highly focus on the industrial security. And the knowledge for UA comes from, of course, the long history, but also we are active members in OPC Foundation and OI4 Alliance, so we also keep ourselves up to date. Our business is global, over 50 countries and over 1,000 customers all around the world. Our product family began with SDKs, so I think it's still only commercial Java SDK for OPC UA, and that's from our product family. And also we have this central SDK that Joni is developing and maintaining.
Yeah, that's the one we use Delphi a lot, started 30 years ago with that, and we got the customer base based on our OPC Classic implementation and toolkit, and eventually they started pushing us to implement OPC UA on that as well, even though most people in this room, I guess, don't think that Delphi is alive anymore, but it is strong and kicking, so we support it still.
And then our flagship product for production, OPC UA Forge, is the one that I'm going to showcase here. And it's basically all the knowledge from the previous projects and all the knowledge from just studying OPC UA is now packaged into Forge. And then we also have simulation and testing software. I think Simulation Server is very known software that people use. I think I have already seen it here in ProveIt too, that people use it for simulating UA servers. And also we have just generic OPC UA client, which is called Browser. And in today's demonstration, I will be using Forge, of course. Then I'm going to use Simulation Server, not as a desktop application, which is the main delivery of it, but we have also made a Docker container of it just to help our own environments and testing. And also Browser will be the client that I'm using to show the measurements. Okay, then we continue to Forge. And please, if you have any questions, you can ask already during the workshop, so you don't need to wait until the end. Forge, industrial data ops platform for integrating the OT stuff and IT. The core of OPC UA is of Forge is OPC UA server, and it includes multiple southbound connectors, and also we offer interfaces for northbound such as HTTP, MQTT, and Forge is not just for aggregating the data sources and not just to connect, collect them into one access point, but you can also create business logic to enrich your data and harmonize the data, and then fulfill the integration need between the IT and OT. We are vendor and platform independent, so you can have Forge in Windows, Linux, or containerized environments. The configuration is done through a web UI. We are focusing on modern feel in the UI, and we try to help to make the usage extremely simple without the prior need of OPC UA knowledge. So we try to kind of make it simple, since I often hear that OPC UA is so confusing and hard to understand. But with modern software like Forge, it's fairly simple to work with it. And Forge is we offer one installation material that you install, but we control the package of different feature set by license. So you don't need to have the full Forge, but if you have just some kind of a basic use case, you can have just Forge as a core, and it reduces the price a lot. So you don't need to pay something that you don't use. And then it's easy to scale up. Like you start with just using Forge for aggregation, but you figure out that okay, we have this new challenge that we want to solve. Forge can do it, so you just upgrade the license and change the license to Forge, and then you are able to continue your integration work. Why do we use, or why did we select UA to be the core in Forge, and what are kind of the benefits from it? Well, of course, UA was a straightforward solution because we have the knowledge from it. But what it brings to our software is the built-in security that's well maintained in UA. You can use the message encryption, but also you have the user permission controls in the UA. It's vendor and platform independent, so you are not locked into one architecture and solution. The hot topic modeling, and that is already been a long time in UA, and it's standardized. And the benefit of having it already for a long time is that there has been the learning curve already going on, that okay, this doesn't work, this works, so they are already kind of ahead with that. And also that it doesn't restrict that if you go to UA and use the UA models, that then you would need to forget UNS or MQTT. They can go hand in hand. Yeah. So get the benefit of both, in a sense. And also UA has large adaptation already in automation and industrial IT, so it's kind of a future-proof solution to continue. And finally, OPC UA brings the different services like alarms, events, user permission stuff. All those are kind of built in the protocol or in the standard. So it helps for various use cases. It's not just for needing to combine everything to single point or single address space or unified namespace, but offer methods for controlling the process, offer request response communication together with cloud connections through MQTT or such. Then hands-on exercise. I think it seems that I'm gonna go through the tutorial. It will be recorded, as I mentioned in the beginning, and I think we will make the video available in YouTube. Also, the material, we will keep it so that you can access it after the ProveIt, so you can test it out yourself, how it feels. Does it work for your challenges? The exercise will be a Docker setup, The material is, it will have the required images, the script to start up the environment, to set up the compose for different applications. There will be Forge, simulation server, MySQL, Mosquito, Grafana, Influx coming with the package, but because they are in a container environment, it's very easy to get rid of the software, so you don't need to, install all the stuff and then you are filling your computer with the software and you don't know how to get rid of them and all that. Don't worry, with this it's easy to just remove all the content and your computer is clean. So and also in this setup there will be a pre-configured stuff, so you don't need to start from zero and do it yourself, but you can just start it up and you will see the pre-configured stuff and kind of go through them to understand a bit. The exercise itself is that we have a connection to Modbus. We are going to add one tag from the Modbus, and then we are doing various stuff for that tag. We're going to map it to Sesame SM OEE model that is also already instantiated in Forge. So we will just map it to the harmonized model. And after that, we are going to enable history buffer for the node. We are going to add it to data logger. And also we will update our UNS publisher so that the new tag will be also included in the UNS topic tree. Yes.
Sesame SM OEE model, is that a package or what exactly is it? Or is it looking for data in a certain format?
It's a God, I lost all the terms. It's a type model that you can download and then you can instantiate those. So it makes sure that you say that I want to instantiate OEE model now, and it will instantiate the whole type in the same way. So it's just like a object-oriented programming that you create an instance of a type and it will create the whole hierarchy of that specific type. So it's a model created by Sesame, which includes the variables that they consider needed for the OEE. And when you instantiate it with Forge, it will be always the same, similar looking.
So Sesame has their own OEE package that's looking for this data in that format. Is that
Like I said, it's based on OPC UA information models, and in OPC UA, one strong part of OPC UA is that there's a way to define domain-specific type models, and these models can then be used to standardize different devices to start with. So OPC Foundation has been already publishing different domain-specific models for different devices. So the idea is that vendor independently, like a robot look like the same, whether it's from one manufacturer or the other. And now Sesame in America is kind of promoting the OPC information models, but they created their own term for this, so it's Sesame Smart Manufacturing Model. And in this example, they define an OEE model, a standard OEE model that defines how do you call the daily availability or daily performance values, and then the overall OEE measurement. And we can bring in like data from legacy OEE data and then map it to the standard, and then that way show how to harmonize different legacy systems to the standard model.
Yeah, and it's available on Sesame's marketplace. It's kind of a library for these types that you can download and then import in Forge and then start to use them. So,
does it actually do the calculation for the OEE?
No, but we can do the idea is that the calculation is maybe already done,
Okay.
but it's just renamed in a legacy way.
Okay.
So in Forge, we can map the legacy measurements to the standard. But also, if the calculation is not done, but we have the information to do the calculation, we can do that also in Forge. So we can produce the standard data.
I was just going to throw out to the group. I've been following SESB for the last year or so, and I'm here basically with that background in mind to think about how you can visualize what SESB is calling profiles.
Yeah. And
basically, how it works together. So if anyone wants to chat about that afterward, that'd be okay.
This is new.
Okay. That was the slide set. This will be the download page for the material that you can use. It will include a tutorial guide or exercise guide, which is this one. So just a PDF, just first giving the overview of the setup, describing the components used in the setup, and then just a step-by-step guide going through what you can do to accomplish the exercise and also study how Forge works.
If you want to take a screenshot or record the address of the page, or you can go there even directly if you want to try it out now. So from there you can find the material that you will.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't figure out how we could share anything for the participants. Like here, we have some list of the participants, but yeah.
Is the font big enough that you see it on the screen? The URL that you need.
Yeah. Okay, but I think also we will share this after the workshop. Perfect. So this is now Forge. As I mentioned, it has a web configuration interface. First, some basic information of the Forge server, then list of all the different modules, and you can control which one you want to have active, so you don't need to have all also running, even though your license includes them, but you can just fine tune a view. So if you start up, new module appeared up here, and you can go configuring them.
Would you like to show still how the Docker image?
Yeah.
Docker desktop, you can just then get the image there up and running.
Hi all, and welcome to follow the hands-on exercise in ProveIt conference held by Prosys OPC. In the exercise, we are going to use a Docker environment where we have multiple components, including Forge, which is the main application here. In this exercise, we are going to add a new Modbus tag, and then we are going to map it to Sesame SMOE model. We enable a history. For that, we take a look that it's added to the MySQL data logger, and finally we also update our UNS publisher. So we are going to publish the information back to MQTT broker. Okay, let's jump into the workshop page. So this is a download page, and here are all the needed information for completing the exercise. There is the tutorial guide. I have it open right here, and also there is the download packages for you, and these include all the applications you need. Basically, you select one of these Forge setups, and that's a zip package having a startup script for Docker Compose setup and some other information 2. And then there is a Prosys OPC UA browser that you should download from here. This will direct you to the download page where you can find the different installation packages. You don't have to download the simulation server, that's optional for this tutorial. So yeah, you can start the download, and let's take a look to the guide that we have here. The guide basically starts with an overview of the exercise. So basically pre-requirements are that you have Docker desktop and you have downloaded these two materials. And then the architecture of the setup. So basically we have this Docker Compose package, which is now in the rectangle and in the square box, sorry. And there we have then a Dockerized version of our simulation server. It's not meant for Docker environment, but we built this image just for the exercise. Then we have a Modbus demo included, built by me, and then there's going to be InfluxDB downloaded from the Docker Hub, MySQL, Grafana, and Mosquito. Even though there's multiple softwares that will be running in your computer, they are extremely easy to get rid of because they are in Docker Compose setup. And some information of those different components, and then our tutorial will start. And yeah, we are going to now start with the starting up process. I'm using a MacBook, so the tutorial will be done by this, but I will show the differences from Windows during this demonstration. So I will go to my downloads where I have downloaded the zip package. I have unzipped it and it's right here. I will right click on it and then I select that I start new terminal in the folder. Before I continue here, I will check that my Docker is running. Yeah, Docker desktop, that's running. So I'm good to go. I will run the startup script. So it start sh and I can press enter. Then if I would do that on Windows, I would navigate into the folder. I would write PowerShell here, and then I would write start and autocomplete it to PS1 and run this script. If you end up having issues with the policies, there is this part that describes how to bypass the policies. And finally, Forge's user interface should start up. It's actually at this point, and you can log in to Forge by writing admin. And yeah, now we have accessed Forge. Before we continue into Forge, we could take a quick look to our Docker desktop UI, and we can see that we have now a running Compose setup, which includes Forge, Mosquito, Grafana, MySQL, Influx, simulation server, demo Modbus. and you can control these from here on the right side, starting and stopping the processes, and you can find the mapped ports from here. So if we start checking, we can access our Grafana dashboard from here, and the credential for Grafana is also admin, and you can skip the password setting. Then InfluxDB can be found from localhost 8086, and here the credentials are Prosys OPC, and you can access also InfluxDB. And then we also have this SQL database, and for that we will open one terminal, and then I will also navigate into the folder, open the README, and from the README I will take this command right here and paste it, so we have the connection to the SQL. And yeah, there is also these queries for you that you can run to see the data in the tables. Okay, so now we have been able to connect to all of the different components in the setup. Then I will quickly go through Forge basics, like the navigation inside the application and those things. Then I will explain the exercise again by using the diagram itself, and yeah, then we will do the exercise itself. So basically this is the landing page of Forge. You can see some basics information of Forge server right here, and then you have a whole list of different modules appearing right in the middle, where you can control which one you want to run and which one you don't need. You can keep them stop. And this list will include all the modules that your license include. In this exercise we are having full license that we will use. On the top we have main navigation bar, so here you can navigate between the different modules, and from the icon you can get back to the dashboard. Also from this icon you can get back to dashboard. Then we have user settings, and on the top right we have even more different features that we can configure. Basically this is the main view of Forge, so it's Forge's UI server. All the data that is being handled in Forge is basically available right here as the OPC UA nodes, but also there are important server settings, for example, to control the security options. Now I will open a browser tool, and there's old connections. I will connect our browser to Forge, so I will write OPC TCP / localhost 56560. I'm not going to use any security at this point, make it a bit easier, but then I will use username password, and I recommend you also doing it, because in the Forge settings, if we navigate to user management and take a look to the global permissions, we can see that if you are logging in as an anonymous user, you are not going to have any permissions at all regarding the OPC UA reading, writing, or neither to the Forge permissions in the UI. So we need to log in as the admin. So that's why I'm going to use username, password, and admin credentials to log in to Forge, and this way we were able to make the connection. And now we are accessing Forge's information as OPC UA client, and yeah, back to Forge. Inside Forge, we have configured connections to simulation server. We are not really doing anything with the information in this exercise, but we have also connection to our Modbus device, which is right here. You can press the edit icon and see the connection details, and from the list icon you can see all the configured tags, and we are going to add one more address or tag inside here later. Then we have data coming in from the SQL database. We are also putting data into the database. We have the connection to our influx to have a historical buffer inside there that will be demonstrated later, and also we have an MQTT publisher that publishes Forge's data as MQTT messages. Okay, then we take a quick look back to the exercise itself. So basically what we are going to do is that we configure a new tag from Modbus demonstration or simulator. So we receive one more tag into Forge, and then we are going to add that node to history buffer. We make sure that that variable is also stored in the SQL database, and also we are going to update our Mosquito publisher or our MQTT publisher, and finally we will add also one more visualization in Grafana. And let's get started with the tag configuration. So list icon, press plus sign, let's name it. So I will give this packet packing line. Okay, that's weirdly written, but let's start my total count. That's going to be read from the holding register address 3, and it's going to be unsigned integer and big integer. So we add that one, and we have it in the list now. What I mean that everything is available in OPC UA node after all. So this is the same thing here. Even though we are reading Modbus, the total count is now in our UA node also. So with the client, I'm able to navigate into the tag and see that we are, wait a second, let's do this. Okay, did we get it to wake up? Let's see. Yeah, okay, we got it waking up. So yeah, there's the data. But then the second part is to harmonize the data. So let's say we are wanting to have an OEE measurement of this packing line, but if we would have more of these packing lines, we would like to have them in the same format, in the same structure. So that's why we have used Sesame OEE model. So we have imported the Sesame model as a OPC UA node set, and then the model is available for us to instantiate. And these are now the standard tags. I'm going to go to the quality part, and now we want to connect the new measurement to this tag, because we were reading the total count. But if we take a look, we can see that there's already a mapping in this tag. So basically what we did previously, before we get actual tag from the device, we were counting the good and bad products together, so we got the total count. But now we want to remove this calculation away. So we remove it and we create a new mapping, and this time we get the value from the device itself. So I will navigate to there. In this view, we say that the value attribute of daily total product will receive the measurement actually from total count value attribute. There is availability to for different advanced settings for this value transfer, but we are going to go with just the basics. And now what we have done is that if we take a look to the structured model, we can see the total count from the harmonized structure. So now we would be able to do this for all the packing lines. Okay. But then the other thing is that we want to have the historical access for these measurements, so that we can create better dashboards and more robust data. So if we try now read the history of this tag, we are not receiving anything. But because we had the configuration to our InfluxDB right here, and we have our collector configured right here, and we can see the tag list from there, and we can see the details for the collector right here. So that's already done. So we can just right click history, historize, and select the collector, and the new icon appears that this is now historized. So let's see if we change that to minutes and start reading. We can see that we are able to get the history data from this node 2. Okay, what next? We needed to check that we have it in the logger. So let's see. We have configured the connection in here. Then we have done the configuration to the selected table and what data goes to which column. More detailed examples of this can be found from our Mastering Forge tutorial series. So now I'm kind of running through them, because only part that we need to now concentrate is this one. And yeah, we can already see that packing counts are including our total count already. So that should be good. Let me see if quickly check. So if we open the MySQL terminal, I run this script, we can see that there's the daily counts, good counts in the table. Okay. And then in our exercise, the next part would be that we update our UNS publisher, which is right here. Basically how this goes is that, of course, we need to have the connection first to our broker, and then we need to create a publisher. The two views here, the template views, are just for you to help develop harmonized MQTT messages. But the UNS publisher is extremely simple to set up. You just need to select which is the root node where you start building up the UNS. So basically every step in OPC UA server means a new topic level in MQTT. So we are going to build it from the factory A level. We have a prefix for the UNS publisher, and finally we configure the payload by adding new elements. After we save this configuration, Forge will automatically browse through the whole folder that we selected and create a new topic and publish new topic and message for each variable. So currently we are missing the total count because we haven't updated this. So I will press refresh UNS, confirm, and now this is updating the list, and we are seeing now the daily total products right here. If we open our browser again and open a new tab, we can connect to our MQTT broker. So MQTT localhost 1883. Subscribe with the hashtag so you can get all the topics, and OK. And then we need to change from the pub/sub view to the log view, so we will see the raw messages right here. And there we can see we are now having the total products. There's the message itself. We have the good products with the same format but in own topic. So basically here we have the UNS structure following the OPC UA structure over here. And finally, I think I promised to show how we can add a new visualization to Grafana. So what we have here is that we have built a connector to Forge, which is this simple to configure. Just put the Forge's UI address, create an API key in Forge. So let's take a look to that. We go to the user settings, API keys, and here we see that we have created a Grafana API key. So you could be adding new one from there. It's that simple. We copy pasted it right here and then save and test, and we see that we have a connection to Forge. And then in the dashboards I have a few already built up for you, so we can see the data right here. But now if we want to add a new visualization in Grafana, we can do it extremely simply by just selecting whether we want real-time history or history data, do we use any aggregates, and then we can use this built-in browsing tool to navigate into the tag that we want to add. So basically I could go all the way to total and have that added into the dashboard, just like that. Okay, so I think we are now finished with the exercise itself, but then I will also now demonstrate how you can get back to the starting point. So basically we are going to restore a backup. So press restore, then navigate to the folder that you downloaded the Forge setup, and there will be this Forge backup file .zip that you open, confirm, and this way you will get back to the defaults that where we started from. And then finally, if you want to get rid of the whole setup, what you need to do is just well, of course you can just stop Forge or stop the whole compose setup, or then start it back on when you want to do a new demonstration, or you want to get rid of all the stuff, just delete forever from here and they'll be gone. And then you can clean up the folder itself, because yeah, this one, and then you are pretty much clean from the setup that we have built here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for following through this exercise. If you have any questions, please contact Forge support or any issues with the setup. And if you got interested, contact our sales at prosysopc.com. Thank you and bye.